whether the team is performing clean or unsightly. We'll cover it all here on Washington Football Nightly. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So, we had a bit of a surprise. Before I get to any of that, it's Wednesday. Just wanted to remind some of you out there, the Washington football team are your 2020 NFC East champions. Celebrate! The champs are here! The champs are here! Just in case you forgot. Now, there was a surprise on the injury report today, and we'll talk more about that when we get there, but I did want to lead the show off by talking about a surprise and not a good one. I don't like surprises on the injury report, okay? Because if a guy practices that didn't practice the day before, that's not a surprise. It's good news, but it's not a surprise because guys do that. One day they don't practice, the next day they do. That happens. What I don't want to see is a guy that wasn't on the injury report at all to begin with on Tuesday show up on the injury report on Wednesday. That's usually problematic, and that gets you in trouble. Like Cole Holcomb a couple of weeks ago. Wasn't on the injury report on Wednesday and magically showed up on Thursday on the injury report with a concussion. And he missed the game. And the next game after that. We want to stay away from that. Or I think he just missed one game. But it hurt us. Clearly it hurt us against Seattle. Anyway, Kendall Fuller showed up on the injury report today with a knee injury. That means more likely than not, he sustained that injury in practice yesterday. Now, it was a walkthrough yesterday. For the most part, it was pretty minor in terms of the amount of physical exertion necessary to complete practice yesterday. Yet, here we are, Kendall Fuller, feeling some sort of discomfort that led him to end up on the injury report. That's not good, especially this week against Tom Brady and the lethal weapons that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers possess at the wide receiver position. This is not the week for anybody in the secondary to be having any injuries. We can't afford them. So let's hope that it's nothing. Remember, Kendall Fuller missed the first 2 games of the season with a knee injury. So this is not good. He was limited. He was not out. Still, where the hell did this come from? And you know what's funny, and I do want to bring this up, because in all of my years of watching football, there's this assumption that if guys don't get hurt during the game, they're just fine. They don't get hurt in practice. Injuries rarely happen in practice. So we just assume if they're healthy after the game on Sunday or Monday or Thursday, then they're fine. Nothing's going to happen in practice, right? Well, the Packers just lost their left tackle, David Bakhtiari, for the entire season last week in practice. So it doesn't happen often, but we've got to get out of this mindset of, look, shit doesn't happen at practice other than practice. Nobody's getting hurt. There is no physical, tangle ups or anything like. Everybody's fine. If you're out there, you're good. Nothing's going to transpire. I have to stop taking practice for granted in terms of our guys going to be okay. So, yeah, that's a little nerve-wracking. Leading up to the biggest game of the season, and you see one of your cornerbacks on the injury report that hasn't been up there in quite some time. Now, I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to play. And I think because of the sneaky nature of him ending up on the injury report, I don't think anybody really asked Ron about it at the presser. But I bet you Ron's going to get some questions about it tomorrow, especially if Kendall is limited again or he's out. They're going to ask Ron a couple of questions as to, the status of Kendall Fuller. What exactly is wrong? What's his status for Sunday? He's going to get some questions. Or Saturday, excuse me. He's going to get some questions. And I'm anxious to hear his response. But as we all know, Ron isn't the guy you necessarily want to go to for questions about injuries or anything of the sort, because we've heard from Ron this season and been led astray multiple times. So not that that's a bad thing, honestly speaking. But anyhow, that's what we lead this show off with, is the injury report. And we're going to get to that in a second in greater detail because it's really encouraging outside of that one thing. It's really encouraging. And I told you this yesterday that I was encouraged by the injury report, really for both teams. And I want to also add this in as we lead off this show. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers linebacker, star linebacker, Devin White, the former top 5 pick of the 2019 NFL draft, is out of this game due to COVID-19 restrictions. He's on the list, and he's not going to make it back in time, which I'm not going to lie to you. That's music to my ears. That guy's a stud, and he's a problem. And any help we can get, we'll take it. So didn't anticipate him not playing. Someone had brought him up the other day, and I was like, nah, he's going to be back. I think it was my man Protect over on his channel. Said, I don't think they're going to have Devin White. I'm like, nah, he'll play. He didn't play last week. He'll play this week. Well, they got their defensive end back this week, Shaq Barrett. He's off the list. They're still trying to get clearance for their defensive tackle, but Devin White's not going to make it back. Head coach Bruce Arians announced that yesterday during his presser that there will be no Devin White in this game. Had this game been a regular Sunday game, they may have been able to get clearance for him, but because this game is Saturday, he's not going to be able to make it back in time. Yes. So I'm looking at their injury report. He's not on it, but they are going to be down one of their best defensive players, and that definitely helps this Washington offense. They can use all the help that they can get. So with that said, let's get to in other news. And before we get to what anybody had to say today, that includes Ron Rivera, Scott Turner, and Alex Smith, who all stepped to the podium today and talked. We're going to get to the injury report for both teams heading into Sunday's wild card weekend matchup. Let's first start with the home team, the good guys, Washington. And as I talked about yesterday, this is a pretty clean injury report. Not really much here to report on Jonathan Allen, much like last week. Not injury related, didn't practice the first day of the week last week, then practiced fully the remainder of the week. I think you're going to see the same thing this week. And so I don't really consider Jonathan Allen an issue on this list. Thomas Davis, as I've mentioned to you, not going to be playing for this team the remainder of the season, barring some kind of catastrophe at the linebacker position. He's done. His career is done. And we thank him for his contribution. But his knee injury kept him out of practice again today. Don't expect to see Thomas Davis, even if we advance in the postseason. He's done. Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin, Alex Smith, Kevin Pierre-Louis, and Brandon Sheriff, and Kendall Fuller now. And I want to kind of separate Fuller from the rest of those guys because everybody else was on the injury report yesterday. Gibson, McLaurin, Smith, Pierre-Louis, and Sheriff all were on the injury report yesterday. Gibson, McLaurin, and Smith all didn't practice yesterday. All practice on a limited basis today. So that's good news. At this point last week, Gibson, McLaurin, nor Smith had practiced to that point. It wasn't until Thursday, which would have been practice. Well, technically speaking, today's practice is what amounts to a regular week's Thursday's practice. And that's when Alex Smith first got on the field last week. So technically speaking, this is when he practiced on a limited basis last week. But the vast majority of the first team reps were given to Taylor Heineke. The leftovers were given to the backup to the backup, Steven Montez. So at this point, Alex Smith, I think, is still trending towards playing. I would be shocked if he doesn't play in this game. Does he finish the game? That's another question for another day. We don't have those answers right now, but I'd be shocked if he didn't play. I think we're in the same place with Alex as we were last week. I think he's going to start fast, and as he starts to wear down, I think Ron's going to have a decision to make, because last week he was absolutely horrible once that calf muscle started to tighten up on him. I thought he looked really good early in the game. He came out guns a-blazing, gave us a spark early, and then as that calf muscle started to tighten up and the Eagles started to get a little bit of pressure, he started to be a little antsy. And, I'm going to bring that up, too, because I had a chance to watch the film. I uploaded the first half film and the second half film, for that matter, the offensive film for the Eagles game. We're going to talk about that here in a second. But Gibson and his toe, McLaurin and his ankle, Smith and his calf, Pierre Lewis and his ankle, and Sheriff and his shoulder all were limited today. And all signs point to every single one of those guys playing. I have no doubt in my mind that without a setback for each and every single one of those players, including Kevin Pierre-Louis, who hasn't played in the last 3 games, we're going to see those guys this week. I feel good about that. Kendall Fuller makes me nervous. When a guy's not on the injury report the day before and then magically shows up the next day, that's a cause for concern. I'll be really paying close attention to Kendall Fuller ending up on the injury report tomorrow and seeing what his prognosis is, what his status is, and how they really feel. Like, I need Ron to – look, he doesn't have to tell us anything, but I'm going to be reading body language. I'm going to be kind of reading in between the lines when he answers, because he's going to get some Kendall Fuller questions tomorrow. No doubt about it. There's no way around it. He's getting some Kendall Fuller questions tomorrow, and I want to see how he answers those. That'll be pretty telling for me, and how he's listed. If he's limited again, I'm not going to be too worried. If he's out tomorrow, okay, we should be very, very concerned. Let's get to the Buccaneers side of things. And we talked about their starting cornerback, Carlton Davis, who was out of practice yesterday with a groin. He was limited today. I told you, unless this guy just injured his groin, he's going to play. I wouldn't doubt that he's playing in this game. Mike Evans, he's playing in the game. Trust me. Mike Evans hasn't waited 7 years just to sit out his first opportunity to play in the postseason. Unless his leg is not functioning at all. If he's 50%, he's going to give it a go. Just know that. He'll be out there on Saturday night. Jeremiah Ledbetter, calf muscle, may not be able to go. This is his second DNP of the week. We'll see. We'll keep our eye on that. Shady McCoy, non-injury related. He was a full go today. I told you, if they want him out there, he'll be out there. JPP, this is interesting. He has a knee injury. Second day of DNP for him. Again, I'm not discounting anybody until their head coach, Bruce Arians, or this injury report states that this player is out. JPP, for me, is playing in this game. They're just resting him as much as possible. They know that this guy knows the defense. They know that he doesn't have to have practice to be able to go out there and be effective. So assume that he will be out there. And Ronald Jones, we talked about this yesterday, they might as well take him off of the injury report. He was a full go on Tuesday with a finger injury, full go today. He's playing in the game. So, but the big story is no Devin White. He's not playing in this game, and that's huge for Washington and against this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. So, with that said, let's talk about the offense quickly before we get into. I think it's a perfect segue because we're going to talk about what Scott Turner had to say, Alex Smith, and those two guys are kind of centered around what I want to talk about with the offense. So had a chance to really dive into the offensive film. Broke it down, uploaded it to Patreon. And I'm just going to tell you right now, the first drive of the game and the drive before halftime, things of beauty. All right. Were there some things missed in there? Maybe. Could there have been bigger plays made? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, we executed. Alex executed. Guys made plays. We scored touchdowns on both of those drives. And the biggest thing is we converted third downs on both of those drives. So those two drives in particular stand out. They were phenomenal. Now, when you look at the rest of the game, including, multiple possessions in the first half, in between the first one of the game and the last one of the first half, there are about 4 or 5 more possessions in between that. And there are tons of missed opportunities. You get to the second half, and we consistently were in 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, and could not convert. It was very frustrating because this is what you aim for when you get your drive started with a short pass. A Terry McLaurin 5-yard pass or a J.D. McKissick 4-yard pass on first down. This is what you put yourself in a position to do, is to set up a 3rd and manageable, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. and Scott would get a nice, easy completion on first down, 4 or 5 yard gain. We'd turn around and we'd hand it off, get 1 or 2, and it's 3rd and 3, and we can't convert. It's 3rd and 4, and we can't convert. It's 3rd and 5, we can't convert. You know, their first down situations, the Eagles decide to bring a little bit of pressure, and Alex is scared and he's not seeing his check down, or he's missing an opportunity. You know, Cam Sims is wide open on a deep dig, and Alex just doesn't see him. You know, there were a couple of those moments where you're like, Alex, bro, what are we doing right now? You know, I honestly speaking, I thought Alex Smith, outside of those 2 drives, I thought he was terrible in this game. Just going to keep it a buck with you. You know, my thing has always been with Alex, I'll take some of the missed opportunities, some of the check downs when there are bigger plays there. He's leaving some meat on the bone. I'll take some of those if he's not turning it over. Well, he threw 2 interceptions. And I'm putting both of those interceptions on Alex. J.D. McKissick is not Antonio Gibson. He's not 6 feet tall. He's 5'8", 5'9". Don't throw the football where he's got to jump and elevate to go and get it. Don't put that on J.D. McKissick. Put the football on J.D. so he can catch it and run and do what he does best. I'm putting that interception on Alex. As do I, and this one definitely is on Alex. I had a fan tell me, I need you to go watch that second interception. That's not on Alex Smith. That's on Logan Thomas. He fell. If he doesn't fall, bullshit. That is a pick all day, every day. He's on his feet, not on his feet. That ball was poorly thrown to the inside. It needed to be outside. That ball was getting picked off regardless of whether Logan Thomas stayed on his feet or not. That ball was getting picked off. The only thing that might have saved Alex on that play if Logan kept his feet was he might have been able to come back and hit that defender and knock him down or disrupt him trying to catch it. Other than that, that ball was getting picked off. It was one of his worst throws of the night. So, spare me, okay? Alex is going to have to be better, or they're going to have to go in a different direction. And I think Ron mentally, with his statement yesterday about the dual quarterback thing and getting prepared, I think he understands. And somebody, I was laughing at some of your comments. Somebody was like, you on some Willis Reed shit, like having Alex come out, start the game for motivational support. Look, Alex gave us something early. You know, Willis Reed came out, hit his first 2 jumpers, and then didn't do much of anything else the rest of the game. All right. However, Alex gave us something early. But as the game progressed and the Eagles started to pressure him and that calf started to tighten up, you could see his play start to go south. So I'm just saying, I don't mind Alex coming in early, giving us what he's got, and then if he can't go or if it starts to tighten up and we see the play starting to wane, we see Alex starting, because I felt like a lot of the decisions he made in the game were tied to his lack of mobility, tied to his calf muscle tightening up. And I told you, when Alex gets in that mode, and look, he's human. You would probably do the same thing too. When you get in a situation where you're not comfortable with the way you feel and how you're moving, it's less about, let me stare down the field and see who's open. Let me go through my progressions. It's more about self-preservation. Hey, let me get the hell out of here. Let's not take any unnecessary shots. And I don't want to turn it over. I don't want to get caught in some kind of really bad position and compromising position, and I end up coughing up the football. Well, he still threw 2 interceptions. So I think Ron understands that after watching the tape, look, man, we can't have Alex out there if he's going to do this. I might as well put Taylor Heineke. If he's going to throw 2 interceptions and not be able to move, I might as well put Taylor Heineke out there and allow him to run around and see what he can do. You know, we got nothing to lose. So I think there's a realistic possibility that you'll see that this week at some point. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there after watching the film. And I'll tell you this. I'll save this for when we get to Scott Turner. Let's get to all of these pressers. We start with Ron Rivera. And Ron talked about a bunch of different topics today. He talked a bunch about the Buccaneers and some of the threats that they pose. He talked about Bruce Arians and Tom Brady in this offense. And he talked about interior pressure. I thought this was big, an acknowledgement of what Washington will have to do. I think we all know this. I've talked about this already. I've talked about this for years with Tom Brady, going back to his days in New England. You have to get interior pressure. That's what makes Tom Brady the most uncomfortable. He's one of the best in the business that I've ever seen, and this includes Peyton Manning, of manipulating the pocket. Tom will slide just slightly left. He'll slide slightly right, and it'll buy him just that extra fraction of a second that he needs to deliver the football. Tom will backpedal 3 steps to his left and reset and fire it 40 yards down the field. Like, he, inside the confines of the pocket, I don't know if they're any better than Tom Brady at maneuvering and getting the football out. So what really hurts him isn't the exterior pressure, the guys off the edge. It's the guys up the middle. If you get pressure in his face, that makes Tom Brady very uncomfortable. And for me, I think that's what you're going to have to do. And Ron kind of acknowledged that. And we're going to give some keys to the game later on in the week, and I'm going to give you ways to do that. Also, Ron acknowledged that you can't just blitz Tom Brady. Even though pressure disrupts Tom and makes him uncomfortable, which you could pretty much extrapolate that across the board for every quarterback, he says, you know, there's a stat out there that says, hey, but don't blitz him, though, because he'll eat your ass up, okay? Pressure is good against Tom, but blitzing him isn't the way to create it, because he'll eat that shit up. And Ron pretty much said, look, man, dude's seen it all, done it all. So you come after him with a blitz, he knows exactly where to go with the football. Everybody knows that. That's what makes Tom Brady, one of the things that makes him so good is that he's cerebral. He's seen it. He knows where to go. Oh, this is what you're doing? Hard to confuse a guy when he's in year 20, okay? Hard to confuse a guy that's been in this league as long as Tom has and seen just about everything that a defense can do to try to confuse you. So it's just about winning individual matchups. And Ron said, look, this is when you're going to need that front four to really do damage because we really don't want to blitz. He didn't say that, but he pretty much said that. You know, moving on to Scott Turner, I thought it was interesting that he brought up the rushing numbers because, you know, he catches a lot of flack for not running it enough. Yet we ran it 27 times, and we ran it for over 100 yards. And you know what was impressive when I went back? Because I don't think I actually sat down and analyzed this in the moment. I was so juiced. I was so amped. I could feel it. Once they put in Nate Sudfeld, I could feel the division getting closer. You know, it was within reach. I could grab it. So I was kind of getting prepared for the show, and you know, I was still nervous because any stupid thing could happen. 2 missed tackles, deep ball, whatever, you know, and just like that, you're losing the game. However, that last drive that we had the football, I don't know if you guys really understand just how well we ran the football on that last drive. And I've said this to you guys this season on numerous occasions, and I've caught some flack for it, and that's fine. But I've said, when we need to run the football, we've run the football really well. And some of you, your response to that is, well, why don't we run it more? Because we don't have to run it. We don't have to. But when we have to run it, when we need to run it, we've actually ran the football really well this season. And I thought Sunday was another example of that. We've been one of the better red zone rushing teams in the league. And that's why Antonio Gibson has 11 total touchdowns on the season. Like 9 or 10 of them are rushing touchdowns. So he's been a dynamo in the red zone because we run it well in the red zone. Why is Peyton Barber hit rate on 3rd and 4th and short one of the best in the league? Look, I said this on the film, and I might have said this on the show last night. I don't think I did. I think I said this on the film. You know, and I stay dropping gems on the film, and I think I said it to you guys on this platform, but I'm just saying it on the film. But I'll say it again here in case I didn't say it on the show already. I've never felt more confident in a short yardage situation than I do now this season with Peyton Barber. I've never felt automatic. Never. Not even a quarterback sneak has been automatic. Hell, we failed on a quarterback sneak against Dallas on the first possession of the game on a 4th down that stopped us right at the dang on goal line. I've never felt more confident in a short yardage situation than I have this year with Peyton Barber. Anytime it's 3rd and 4th or 1, and I'm like, it ain't even a decision to be made. I don't want to get cute. I don't want trickeration. I don't want play action fake. I don't want to try to catch the defense napping. Put 34 in the game and give him the rock. Because this season, I don't think he's been stopped in one of those situations yet. And the Eagles almost had him on a 3rd and 1. And this guy kept churning and he kept fighting and he got the first down. I don't think he's been denied once. I'd like to see stats on that. I guarantee you in 3rd and short and 4th and short situations, when he's been given the football, he's converted every single time. So for me, and it started in week 1 against the Eagles. You remember the 4th and 2 we went for? And he had to bounce it outside and then he had to fight and then he got around the corner and he got the first down. This guy's been money this season. And when we've had to run it, in those situations, the front has done their job, the offensive line has done their job, and Peyton Barber's done his job. And when we had to run it, at the end of those games, at the end of the Philadelphia game the first time around when we had the lead and we were looking to churn clock, against Dallas late in that game, remember, that was not a blowout yet. It was not a blowout yet. It was only 27-16. We ran the football down their throats, and then Antonio Gibson capped it off with like a 25-yard touchdown run. Okay? We ran it down the throat. We weren't throwing it then. We were running it. Ran it down their throat and iced that game. Against Cincinnati. It wasn't a pretty game. 20-9. But guess what? We saw that they were compromised with no Joe Burrow. We saw their quarterback situation, and we took the air out of the football. We ran it the entire 4th quarter. Shortened that game and got the hell out of there. Again, on Sunday night, we're clinging to a 20-14 lead with about 7 minutes left in the game after Nate Sudfeld throws that interception. And we take that football and we don't give it back to the Eagles until there's less than a minute to go in the game. That's impressive. We drove it, and it was all runs. We didn't try to get fancy. We didn't try to get cute. We handed it to Antonio Gibson. He went outside. He went inside. We thought they had us on the last one. It was 3rd and 9. He gets 8. They knew we were running the ball. He gets 8. Brings up a 4th and 1, and I'm like, hey, Ron. Hey, bro, I know it's kind of dicey here, but scared money don't make money. Kiss those dice, roll them, hope it come up nice, baby. This is for the division. Ron said, I know. You ain't got to tell me. Offense, get out there. Now, I don't know if they were going to snap it or not, but Alex got their ass on the hard count. Let's go. Don't even have to run the ball. Don't even have to run the ball, play. Don't even have to snap it. Pick up the first down, and we just kept running it, bad boy. Kept running it. And by the time they got that thing back, it was about 40-something seconds maybe left on the clock. 30-something seconds. No timeouts. Got to go 90 yards or whatever it was. And it was another 4th and short. Ron, it was 4th and, I think, 2. 4th and 1. I felt like 4th and 1. Ron could have went for it if he wanted to. He said, nah, I ain't worried about it. It's Nate Sudfeld. It's Nate Sudfeld. I'm good. Just punt that thing and make them go to the length of the field. They ain't doing that. Not against our defense. Not with Nate Sudfeld. So, anyway, long story short, we can run it. And Scott brought that up again. Like, hey, man, I'm not saying, I'm just saying we ran it again. Just so you know, when we need to, we can run it. And, you know, one of the biggest gripes with Scott Turner, and there was a sequence that I kind of pointed out on the film. And we ran it for 11 yards with Antonio. This is his best run of the night to me. He cuts back. He gets to the outside, and then he cuts behind the block of big Cornelius Lucas. And you saw on that play that the toe was just fine because it took 2 sharp cuts for him to get where he got. And then he lowered the shoulder, and he powered through a defender and drug another dude and picked up 11. And we got a first down. And then after that, if I'm not mistaken, pass, punt. And that's the kind of stuff that frustrates people with Scott Turner. I don't think he sees it that way, but and that's fine. Because this is the thing that I always say with Scott Turner. You guys only bring up his failures because they're failures. But when you watch the film, these plays are called and they should work if they are executed properly. Guys are open. Guys are open. Steven Sims is open. Well, Alex decided he wanted to throw it to Terry. Well, Terry's 2 yards short of the first down. If you would have thrown it to Steven Sims, who's right in front of your face, on a slant just like Terry, you would have got the first down. It's 3rd down and 6, and Logan Thomas is wide ass open. They blitz 5 guys. We got 5 to pick up 5. They pick it up beautifully, and Alex decides he's got to get the hell out of there, and he's got to go now. And he throws the football away. Logan is standing with both hands up. Hey, I'm open, Alex. Get it to me. So Scott is calling good plays, but again, if you're not watching very intently, all you see is a punt, and what the hell is Scott Turner doing? He didn't run it. Anyway, Scott's like, look, I got the game plan ready for this week, and it's pretty much good to go for whomever's in there. All of our dudes have similar skill sets, Alex and Taylor and Steven, and so whoever's out there, I'm not changing a damn thing. He's like, look, I know Taylor Heineke, been with him since Minnesota. He was with me in Carolina as well. I know this dude. I'm not changing up anything. It's up to him to get up to speed. I know he's ready. I know what he's capable of, but I'm not dumbing down anything. All right, it's the playoffs. All hands on deck. Every gun is locked, stocked, fully loaded, and ready to go. And when we come out blazing, he's got to be ready. Cool, I'm with it. You with it, I'm with it. So he pretty much said, look, I'm going to call the game. And he knows Tampa Bay has the number 1 rush defense in the league. So understand, if we don't run it a ton in this game, you know why. Scott's shown you earlier this season, when we go up against stout rush defenses, don't look for the run. Don't look for it as often as you would see it in a normal game. So it wouldn't shock me if you got 47 pass attempts between 2 different quarterbacks. You know, depending on the score, obviously. You know, and then he did go back and bring up the Carolina game. He was like, hey, you know, I would have loved to have run it more in that game because, you know, we were having success, and we were. Antonio Gibson was killing them in that game. Gibby was murdering those boys, but we got behind. And I told you it was that 3rd quarter drive that did us in. That opening drive of the second half against Carolina, where they ate up half of the quarter before Chase Young got to Teddy Bridgewater and forced the fumble. That really forced him to say, all right, man, we got to take to the air. We need 3 scores, and this game is damn near over. So hopefully we're not in that position. We weren't last week, and it allowed him to stay relatively balanced. And hopefully we're in a position where the run game can still be. And he talked about wanting to be balanced against Tampa Bay, even though he understands the challenge that they pose up front with their ability to stop the run. He says, I want to remain balanced. Sounds good. I'm just telling you right now, if they don't get creative in the way that they run it, don't look for a bunch of rushing attempts. It may be an extension of the run game by the way they throw it. You know, the short passing game like the Steelers do. So just be aware of that for all of you. We got to run the football, people. Okay, just so you know. And then finally, Alex Smith stepped up to the podium, and he pretty much said, look, it's just like last week. You know, you're just getting as prepared as you can with the calf. You know, he didn't give out any percentages or I feel great type of statements. He was just like, look, it is what it is. It's similar to last week. It's a shorter week. We had to fly home. And so, you know, it's a short week because we played a night game and we didn't get home until the wee hours of the morning. We won the division. So, of course, we partied for a little bit before we got on the flight home. It wasn't, you know, ideal, but, you know, and then you got to turn around and everything's shortened because of a Saturday, not a Sunday game. And, yeah, it's you know, it is what it is, you know. So, like I said, Alex said, look, I felt good going into the game. As you could see, you know, we came out playing good ball. I felt good, you know, and then, you know, the second half rolled around and things got a little dicey. It's pretty much what he said. And you could tell I wasn't the same guy. And so, you know, you could tell Alex is a little annoyed by some of the questions somebody asked him. Now, and these are questions that need to be asked. And they simply asked him, hey, you know, a lot of people out there are saying that, you know, you can't move, and because of that, it's stunting this offense. And so, you know, how do you feel about that? And he's like, look, you know, he said earlier in the season when I first came back, I felt as good as I ever have, from a health standpoint. I felt like the mobility was getting better, and we could attest to this as fans. We watched him get better and better in terms of mobility and more confident in his ability to move around as the season progressed. As he got more reps, as he got out there and got more comfortable and acclimated to being back on the field, he started to move more and more. And so that was true. I don't know if he felt as good as he's ever felt, which is what he said, but you could tell he was starting to get back to being comfortable moving around. And then the calf injury happened and was sustained, and then everything changed. And he's like, yeah, it's not really the same. Now I can't move around as much as I want to. Well, that's kind of the point of the question, Alex. Like, what are you going to do about that? Are you going to find ways to, get the ball out quicker? Are you going to be able to stand back there and make plays? Because you weren't able to do that. He's like, look, you got to be able to move around in this league. Yeah, Alex, we know that. That's kind of why we're asking, do you think that Taylor Heineke should play? Because you don't look like you can move all that well. He's like, look, I'm going to just do everything I can to be ready. And it's not my decision to do the dual quarterback thing. All I can do is prepare myself and get ready to try to help this team. So you saw the bravado and that little edge to Alex kind of come out there when he was questioned about should he be the guy out there on Saturday night leading this team. So he's going to do everything he can to get out there and try to help this team. And I have no doubts in my mind. Come Saturday night, number 11 will be starting for the Washington football team under center. Now, how long will he be out there? Again, as I mentioned earlier in this show, I don't have the answer to that. But I can tell you, 11 will be out there, ready to go on Sunday night or Saturday night when this team takes the field for the first time offensively in the game. I can't say that will be the case, in the third quarter. But in the first quarter, number 11 will be out there. That's for certain. And that's what I took and gathered from his presser today. So with that said, let's go ahead and close this show up. Celebrate! We're the NFC East champions. Again, just in case you forgot. Some of you guys have, short attention spans, like dogs. Huh? Focus, pay attention. NFC champs, right here. Woo-hoo! Right here. Over this way. NFC East champs. We got to find a way to get this one, man. I'm excited. I haven't been this excited in a long time, really. I guess since 2015 when we played the Packers. And I don't even know if I was this excited, honestly speaking. So this feels good. Feels good. Looking forward to it. And so, looking forward to your comments. I read every single one of those, and a lot of them were hilarious. Some of them were truthful. Like, someone was like, bro, you dead wrong. Because I said yesterday that, Alex had 5, wins this year, and the only other win we had was with Kyle Allen. He's like, bro, you dead wrong. Dwayne won in week 1. You know what? The bigger the strong. You got it going on. You're dead wrong. Hey, Lou, you're dead wrong. Yeah, I was dead wrong. I forgot about week 1 with Dwayne. I damn sure did. So I read them all. And I appreciate y'all. So looking forward to reading your comments. And some of y'all are still talking about the offseason. How could you be talking about the offseason at a time like this? You should be focused on Saturday. Hey, it doesn't matter. And all of that stuff, I'm cool with it. I can't talk draft as much as I want to right now, but I am cool with, talking offseason because it's right around the corner. It could be after Saturday night, a reality. So we'll see. Anyway, that's why I'm just soaking all of this up. I'm taking all of this in. As should you. Anyway, I'm your man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. If you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And hit that like button if you haven't already done so. What are you waiting on? Anyway, I'm your man, Louie T. And this has been Washington Football Nightly. Until next time, you guys, take care. Have a good one. And I'll see you next time.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap. Hand to Riggins. Good hole. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone.